We walk on a world built on the ashes of what came before, a world shaped by hands we recognise, cities, monuments and tools all emerging from the agricultural revolution, or so we believe. But what if that wasn't the beginning? Whispers and echoes from an earlier age still linger, the remnants of their story now lying dormant, beneath stone, beneath sea, beneath time itself. They speak of a time when humanity may have risen before and disappeared without a trace. In this journey we uncover 5 signs, 5 ancient anomalies that defy explanation and whisper of a forgotten supercivilization. My name is Nex, and welcome to the Nex Archives. Our journey begins on Egypt's Giza plateau, where a colossal guardian gazes eternally toward the rising sun. The Great Sphinx, lion-bodied and human-faced, has watched over the desert for millennia, but beneath its serene expression lies a riddle carved in stone. Deep vertical fissures and rounded hollows scar its flanks, not from mere wind and sand, but some argue from water. Heavy, sustained rainfall, the kind that hasn't touched Giza since the end of the last ice age, 7 to 10,000 years ago. This is the heart of the Sphinx Water Erosion Hypothesis. According to geologist Dr. Robert Schoch, the undulating patterns on the enclosure walls resemble water erosion from torrential rain, not arid desert weathering. If true, this would mean the Sphinx predates dynastic Egypt by thousands of years. Mainstream Egyptologists remain skeptical. They suggest occasional downpours or alternative weathering could explain the patterns. But many who stand before the Sphinx feel it. This monument may be older, far older, than the pyramids that rise behind it. Then there's the curious size of the head. It's disproportionately small for the body, leading some to believe it was recarved, possibly from an original lion's head, reshaped into a pharaoh's likeness. If that's true, then the body may belong to a much earlier time, a monument inherited by later civilizations. Legends also speak of hidden chambers beneath the Sphinx, vaults containing knowledge from before a great flood. Though unverified, the erosion debate alone casts a shadow over conventional history. Could a forgotten supercivilization have thrived in that rain-soaked epoch, only to vanish without a trace, leaving behind this silent sentinel as a marker of lost greatness? The Sphinx does not answer, it only watches. Weathered by time and perhaps by memory, it dares us to imagine what came before. Next we descend into the heart of the Mediterranean, Malta. Beneath an unremarkable street in Paola lies a hidden marvel, the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Discovered by accident in early 1900s, this underground temple complex plunges 3 levels deep into solid limestone. Over 5,000 years old, it feels older, like a gateway into another world. Inside, the air is cool and heavy. Curved ceilings loom overhead, red ochre spirals curl along the walls. It was a necropolis, once holding the remains of over 7,000 souls, but also a sanctuary. And at its core lies something stranger still, the acoustics. One chamber known as the Oracle Room contains a niche in the wall. Speak into it, and sound doesn't just echo, it vibrates through the entire structure. The resonance peaks around 110 Hz, a low frequency that sends vibrations through the bones. Visitors describe it like standing inside a giant living bell. At that pitch, something happens. Modern research shows 110 Hz dampens the brain's language center, enhancing emotion and intuition. it can induce a trance-like state. In the dark, surrounded by humming stones, ancient worshippers may have used sound to shift consciousness, rituals becoming altered states of reality. Did they intend this, or did they stumble across the secret and harness it instinctively? Remarkably, these builders had no writing system, no metal tools, no wheel, and yet they carved this sonic temple with stunning precision. Some scientists dismiss the effect as coincidence, but similar resonances exist in other sacred sites, like Newgrange in Ireland, hinting at a wider forgotten knowledge. Adding to the enigma, reports once surfaced of elongated skulls found within the Hypogeum, anatomical oddities that vanished from public records. Locals whisper of strange voices, and of those who entered and were never seen again. Folklore perhaps, but it speaks to the power this place still holds. In this silent underworld, Neolithic architects may have touched something profound, building not just with stone, but with sound and spirit. And as you climb back toward the light, you may still feel the echoes following you. What do you think this Hypogeum was? Let me know in the comments below. Our third sign lies in the heart of the Pacific Ocean. Near the island of Pohnpei in Micronesia, hidden among mangroves and reef, sits a ghostly sunken city, Nan Madol. From afar it appears as scattered islets floating on the blue, but up close its true scale becomes clear, a city built from towering black basalt pillars, stacked like a giant's fortress. These stones aren't native to the reef, they were quarried inland, some weighing over 50 tons, the mass of a blue whale, and transported miles across the island, then raised on coral foundations in the open ocean. But how? Mainstream archaeology attributes the feat to the Saudala dynasty, rulers of Pohnpei around 1,000 years ago. They suggest thousands of labourers used ropes, rafts, and muscle to haul and stack the stones. But Pohnpeian legend tells of a stranger tale. 2 sorcerer brothers, it said, came from afar to build a sacred city. They sang to the stones, or summoned a dragon to lift them through the air. The details differ, but the message is clear. Nan Madol was not built by ordinary means. As dusk falls over the waterlogged ruins, the air thickens. Walls of basalt rise 25 feet high, cloaked in vines and silence. This was once a ceremonial capital, temples, tombs, and shrines for priest kings who ruled with divine authority. Why build it separated by water from the mainland? Is it protection? Symbolism? Or was it meant to reflect something celestial? Locals still avoid the ruins after dark. They say spirits linger there, guardians of a city that should not be disturbed. Archaeologists see Nan Madol as a marvel of human determination, but others wonder if its builders inherited knowledge, seafaring wisdom, or forgotten engineering from an earlier unknown civilization, something lost, but not entirely gone. To stand among its flooded causeways and mossy stones is to feel the weight of a mystery. Touch the basalt, and you're touching a puzzle older than memory. Who built this? How? And why here on the edge of the world? Nan Madol rises from the sea like a monument to forgotten greatness, and dares us to consider that our ancestors were not only clever, but custodians of a deeper, older knowledge than we remember. In the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon stands Baalbek, known to the Romans as Heliopolis, the city of the sun. Its towering columns and grand courtyards speak of Roman brilliance, but beneath that familiar architecture lies something far more enigmatic, the Trilithon. 3 immense stone blocks, each over 19 meters long and weighing more than 800 tons, rests 7 meters above the ground. That's the mass of multiple jumbo jets, carved, transported, and fitted with such precision that not even a blade can slip between the seams. They weren't just placed, they were aligned perfectly. Mainstream scholars credit the Romans, claiming they positioned the Trilithon as a foundation for the Temple of Jupiter around 2,000 years ago. And while Rome was a marvel of engineering, this was unprecedented. Nowhere else did they move stones of this scale. No records describe how it was done. No carvings boast of the achievement. So why the silence? Some believe the Trilithon predates Rome, that the Romans, like many after them, built atop the ruins of something far older. The site had been sacred for millennia, revered by Phoenicians, Canaanites, or perhaps someone lost entirely to time. Just meters away lies the stone of the pregnant woman, a 1,000-ton monolith, still attached to the quarry bedrock, as if the builders gave up mid-task, or paused, never to return. Was it too heavy even for them, or was it a prototype? Local legends speak louder than history books. Some say Cain, the son of Adam, built Baalbek to escape divine wrath. Others claim the jinn, or giants, laid the stones at the command of King Solomon. Fantastical, yes, but united in their insistence, this was not the work of ordinary men. As shadows stretch across Baalbek, it's easy to imagine an age long before the Romans, when a forgotten civilization moved mountains. Maybe they harnessed forces we no longer understand, or machines that crumbled into dust while their monuments endured. The Trilithon doesn't speak, but it testifies. We were here before, we knew more than you think, and we left behind stones so vast they could only belong to gods, or those who dared to challenge them. For our final sign, we journey to the Altiplano of Bolivia, a vast plateau nestled high in the Andes. At nearly 12,500 feet above sea level, it's an unforgiving place to build a city. But over 1,000 years ago, a pre-Inca civilization did exactly that. They called it Tiwanaku. Among the ruins, massive stone gateways, statues, and precisely carved blocks lie clues that these people were more than builders, they were astronomers. Take the Kalasasoria temple, a vast courtyard aligned almost perfectly to the cardinal directions. During the equinoxes, the rising sun would shine directly through the temple's gateway. On the solstices, it would rise at the exact corners of the stone walls. This was more than architecture. It was a calendar built in stone. But something strange happens today. The solstice sun now misses those corner markers. In the 1920s, scholar Arthur Poznansky suggested this shift was due to a change in Earth's axial tilt, claiming the alignments would have been exact around 15,000 BC. Mainstream archaeology strongly disagrees. Radiocarbon dating places Tiwanaku between 500 BC and AD 1000. Critics argue that Poznansky's measurements were flawed, or the stones may have shifted over time. But still the idea lingers. Even without that extreme date, Tiwanaku's sophistication is undeniable. The Gate of the Sun, a massive carved monolith, seems to encode a celestial calendar. But how? The local Aymara people say Tiwanaku was the center of the world, the place where the god Viracocha created the first humans. And when Spanish conquistadors saw the site, they couldn't believe the ancestors of the locals built it. They whispered of lost giants, even Atlantis. Tiwanaku remains a mystery. Its age, purpose, and full knowledge are still debated. But one thing is clear. Its builders aligned their world with the heavens. They tracked the sun and the stars, and built a city that spoke to the sky. Stand among its wind-carved plazas and you'll feel it. That eerie sense that Tiwanaku is more than stone. It's a message. We counted the days, we followed the sun, we built in harmony with the cosmos, and we left behind something to remember us by. We've journeyed from the scorching sands of Egypt to the echoing depths beneath Malta, from a sunken Pacific city to the basalt stones of Lebanon, and finally to the windswept heights of Bolivia's Altiplano. Each of these places whispers a warning that civilization may rise and fall not once, but many times, its brightest chapters buried beneath stone and silence. Our world is etched with enigmas, and for every answer we find, a dozen more questions take root. In those contradictions, curiosity is born. Perhaps once there were giants, not in myth, but in mind, whose knowledge lit the world before it was dimmed by catastrophe or simply forgotten. Maybe something profound was lost. Maybe it waits, still, beneath our feet. If this journey stirred something in you, if it left you wondering what else might lie just out of sight, then subscribe to the next archives. Join me as we venture further into the shadows of history, chasing the echoes of what once was. And if any of these signs truly captured your imagination, let me know in the comments. I may just return to explore them in greater depth, in a dedicated deep dive, because the past isn't gone. It lingers in ruins, in riddles, and in stories passed down through dust and time. As always, stay curious and question everything. This is Nex, signing off.